Whispering statues. The psychological mystery of speaking automata in ancient temples. Imagine standing in a pitch-black ancient temple surrounded by cold stone when a statue suddenly whispers your name in a low, gravelly rasp. This wasn't a miracle. It was a terrifying masterpiece of psychological warfare. Ancient engineers possessed a dark secret. They knew exactly how to manufacture the divine through mechanical sorcery. Hidden steam pipes and bronze bellows that turned silent idols into screaming gods. What if the voice of God was actually the sound of pressurized steam and hidden valves? We're diving into the visceral mystery of speaking statues to expose the engineering behind history's most successful psychological illusion. Picture a first-century pilgrim stepping through the temple gates for the first time. The sanctuary is deliberately dark, disorienting after the blinding daylight outside. The air is thick with incense smoke, deadening the senses. This sensory overload was not an accident. It was the first stage of the illusion. Buried in the lost pneumatic blueprints of Hero of Alexandria, one of antiquity's greatest engineers, are designs for statues that appeared to breathe, weep, and bleed. The central mystery isn't whether the gods spoke. It's how ancient engineers bypassed human logic entirely to trigger a primal, uncontrollable religious awe. Behind every whispering god was cold, deliberate engineering. Concealed lead pipes and underground siphons funneled sound from hidden chambers buried beneath the sanctuary floor. Steam-driven bellows forced air through narrow channels, allowing stone lips to emit haunting, resonant groans that sounded nothing like a human voice, and everything like a god's. In one documented case, the writer Lucian described a priest named Alexander of Abonoticus, who built a statue of the healing god Asclepius, and hid inside its head the windpipe of a crane, long and flexible enough to carry a whispered human voice out through the statue's mouth. Archaeologists have since found the physical proof, a hollowed Anubis head, now in the Louvre, drilled internally to carry sound exactly this way. This wasn't guesswork. It was masterful stagecraft, engineered to keep every mechanism invisible to the public eye. The deception went far beyond a single pipe. Entire temple chambers were engineered as acoustic instruments, their proportions calculated to vibrate the human chest cavity itself. Low-frequency infrasound, some of it below the threshold of conscious hearing, created an instinctive, bone-deep feeling of being watched by something vast and unseen. The same physiological response modern psychological horror films still exploit today. Even the famous colossi of Memnon in Egypt reportedly emitted an eerie groan at sunrise, drawing Roman travelers from across the empire to witness what they believed was a god's voice, but was in fact stone cracking under sudden heat. Sound in these temples was never accidental. It was architecture built to frighten. Why did this trick work for centuries, on skeptics and believers alike? The answer lies in a glitch in the human brain called pareidolia, our desperate automatic tendency to find human meaning in mechanical noise. Priests understood this instinct better than anyone, using these speaking statues not just for spiritual awe, but to validate political decrees, endorse kings, and settle disputes with the illusion of divine authority. There's also the trauma of the uncanny valley at work. A silent, motionless statue is unsettling. But a statue that moves, breathes, or speaks crosses into something far more disturbing to the human mind. Familiar enough to register as alive, wrong enough to register as a threat. The illusion's greatest collapse came in the 4th century CE, when Bishop Theophilus ordered the destruction of the great Serapeum Temple in Alexandria. As workers tore the towering statues apart in front of stunned crowds, the truth was laid bare. The statues were completely hollow, riddled with hidden passages behind the walls, where a priest could crouch, unseen, for a lifetime. In that single moment, centuries of manufactured divinity collapsed in front of the very people who had once knelt before those voices in absolute terror and devotion. Trace this deception forward through history, and the pattern never really disappears. It only changes its materials. From temple bellows and bronze speaking tubes to ventriloquist automata in Renaissance courts, to the sophisticated AI-driven deepfake audio of 2026, humanity's desire to give a convincing voice to the inanimate has never faded. Nor has the danger of outsourcing our trust and authority to a voice we cannot verify. The ancient priest hiding behind a statue and a synthetic voice, generated today, share the exact same goal. Convincing you that something artificial deserves your unquestioning belief.
Today, when we walk through the ruins of these temples, we don't hear the voice of any god, only the echo of engineers who understood something timeless about the human mind. That belief can be built, piece by piece, out of pipework, pressure, and darkness. So here's the question worth sitting with. How many of the truths we accept without question today are, in the end, just another pipe hidden behind another wall? If this kind of history fascinates you, subscribe. There are more forgotten mysteries waiting to be uncovered.